For more on this, we're now joined by Professor Mbulungeni Madiba, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Education at Stellenbosch University. He joins us now via our video link for more on this conversation. Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, the Department of Higher Education says that it's winning the war here when it comes to bogus colleges. And of course, this is always an issue in our country during this time of the year. From your observation, are they able to clamp down on fake colleges that we see mushrooming in the country?
Thank you so much, Mbadi. Yes, the department is trying, but it's a very complicated matter. Remember, government cannot be everywhere. These colleges mushrooms everywhere. Sometimes government is not even aware, that there is such an institution. And now with the online, platforms, some of these platforms are online, and government cannot be on every platform. So I think, in as much as we expect government to be playing its part, but I think we all need to work together. The students themselves need to take responsibility. They need to be very, very much aware, of what they are doing. The parents also should be involved. They should not just allow kids to go on their own. But the public, if you notice something that is really not, doesn't look quite well, okay, we need to report this. But from government side, I think government need to do a lot of awareness campaign, national awareness campaign, like they are saying now. But I think we need to do more, because most of these students are coming from from secondary schools. They don't even know how institutions are registered, whether they really need to be registered, if they are registered with who are they registered, how do you know whether they are accredited? So we really need to raise awareness so that all these students must know that not in any institution can just offer a qualification in higher education. They need to be registered, with government. They need to be registered with even the qualifications. They have to go through a process before a qualification is offered. So students need to be given all these steps. So we really need to do much, I think, in terms of awareness campaign. Yeah. And I think that's what government will do. But also government must work closely with the law enforcement. If they find this kind of institutions, they need to shut them down, not really just to leave them up on the learners to fight the battle.
Yeah, and Professor, I mean, one would ask, when you take a walk in the CBD, in and around various towns in our country, you always come upon these various colleges that offer all sorts of, career opportunities. One would ask, why does it seem as if we sort of do have a problem when it comes to various colleges that claim to offer certain qualifications to prospective students? Do you think that maybe some of these, fraudsters, if I may call them that, are taking advantage really of their number of matriculants who are passing, their matric and are hoping to find some sort of institution that can accommodate them?
Yes, you see, as long as we have students who are not accommodated in other formal institutions, we will have vulnerable students who themselves will be really exploited. So the best way to deal with this is that we try, by all means, not easy, but we should try to make sure that we increase access, to quality education, that we have access to higher education, so that students must have an alternative. But without this alternative, these problems will continue, unfortunately.
And what does it do to the hopes and aspirations of many young people in the country, who are prey to some of these colleges, who study there for 3-4 years, and once they obtain their qualification, they realize that, it can't be used anywhere?
It's very damaging. Imagine they lose their time, they lose their effort, they lose their money, for doing the wrong qualification. And besides that, I think their confidence, their trust in the education, it's completely destroyed. So that's why I say it's very, very important that we try, by all means, all of us. It's not just one, it's not government alone, but I think we should, as a community, work together as a country, trying to avoid this kind of things. If we pick this thing up, we need to report that to the department or to the police or to whatever structure that there. It's really a waste of time to our students, and they become devastated and they never sometimes others recover from from this kind of experiences here.
And of course, Professor, you were saying a bit earlier on that, prospective students who are looking at getting some sort of qualification at higher institutions of learning should look out for, some of the tips that you have given. And of course, one of them being that they should check if these institutions are accredited. But what is the process of checking if whether an institution of higher learning is indeed accredited?
You see, like any other practice, an institution of higher learning, there must be a registration number. They can ask, Can you show us that you are registered? What is your registration number? Usually, it's always there. If the institution is accredited, it will say this institution has been accredited by the Council for Higher Education or is registered with the Department of Higher Education and Training, or there's a list. I mean, just pick up a call, phone the department. Do you have this institution in your list? So they should be able to get assistance from the department that institution does not appear in the list.
And what is your
Sometimes they can also see, if... No, you I was saying they need also to look at the buildings. Sometimes the buildings are so bad. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, what is your advice to some of our prospective students who may be looking at, accessing their education through college this year?
You see, there are a few things that they can see. They must look at sometimes the fees are so low. If the fees are too low, it's too good to be true. They need to be suspicious. Then I was just saying, they also look at if they've got campuses. They need to look at this campus. They can see the campus is run down. Sometimes even the staff you can hear. Sometimes even the people who are there, you can feel that this doesn't seem to be okay here. So they really look at the facilities of that institutions. And normal higher institution of higher education will definitely have a facility, will have the buildings, because that's what government requires. Before any institution is accredited to offer any qualification, it must definitely have an infrastructure, whether it is online infrastructure or whether it's a physical infrastructure. And then the staff, it must have the appropriate staff. The qualifications need to appear there. Universities, all our qualifications appear there when you apply to a program. You will see how many people who are there and what is their qualification, so on, so on. So students need to look at all these things. They should not just, say this is a solution to their problem.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time. And I hope all of those prospective students will make use of some of the advice that the Professor has given to the public when it comes to ensuring that the institution that you do apply to really is accredited. And of course, once you finish that qualification, you are able to use it. That is Professor Mbulungeni Madiba, Dean of the Faculty of Education at the Stellenbosch University.